Storm clouds gather over Europe. Mistrust and rivalries between realms threaten to break and flood the world in a tide of total war.
Looks like Pharaoh Interactive have done it again. They've ported yet another timeless classic to mobile. What's cracking, guys, and welcome to the honest review of Medieval 2 Total War for Android and iOS. Before we get into the nitty-gritty though, allow me a few moments to give some general information about the game to those of you who are not familiar with it. Medieval 2 Total War is a strategy video game developed by Creative Assembly and published by Sega. It was released for Microsoft Windows way back in November 2006. Pharaoh Interactive published versions of the game for macOS and Linux on January 14, 2016, and now, 16 years later after its official release, we have that baby on Android and iOS. Now, how cool is that? The gameplay is divided between turn-based strategic campaign and real-time tactical battles. The time frame is set between the years 1080 and 530. We as players manage a medieval state and control its government, economy, military, diplomacy, and region on the map, which spans most of Europe, the northern part of Africa, and the Middle East. That's pretty much the game in a nutshell. Alright, let's jump in and see how this thing turned out. Right off the bat, there's a few things that I want to touch on before we go further in. If you go to the settings, well, you can adjust a lot of settings, go figure. But there's a catch. The thing is that some of them might be actually missing. Hear me out on this. So, if you have a lower tier device, you might not be able to adjust or see some of the settings that you're gonna see in this video. From what I've been told, this is just to prevent lag. And so, Pharaoh Interactive ensures that the game runs smoothly on any of the supported devices. I'm making the comparison with Rome Total War on mobile, because I do own it, and unfortunately that is the case over there. Or at least with the unit size. So if you do have a lower spec device, please let me know in the comments below if you see the same settings as me. So, the other thing is, if you go to advanced settings, or advanced options in this case, you will find this button over here, unlock all factions. If you choose to enable that, that will allow you to play with all the playable factions within the Grand Campaign. It's a pretty nifty feature, because back in the day, with the OG Medieval 2, you had to win a campaign in order for you to unlock every faction. Or at least every playable faction. I know, you can still do that here if you choose, but this way you can ease your suffering a little bit and, you know, have more of a choice right off the get-go. Okay, so this is what the game offers. Pretty much all the menus in the OG Medieval 2, of course with the exception of multiplayer. As you can see, all the maps are here, if you choose to make a custom battle. All of the settings as the original version. And pretty much every faction that you're gonna encounter in the game. That's right, folks, some factions are playable only on custom battles. But to Pharaoh's defense, that was actually how the game was made back in the day. Let's go for Byzantines, for example. You can pick from every unit within their unit roster. Or, of course, if you're feeling lazy, you can generate a random army for the predefined money you have set for each player. That's pretty much the custom battle. There's quick battle, that is pretty self-explanatory, random generated battles. And there's historical battles. As you can see, you have 7 of them. And I do think that they were 7 in the original version. Please feel free to correct me on this if I'm wrong, because, well, I don't remember. Anyways, let's go to the campaign. So, you have 17 factions to choose from. England, Russia, France, Moors, the Holy Roman Empire, the Turks, Spain, Egypt, Venice, Denmark, Sicily, Portugal, Milan, Poland, Scotland, Hungary, and my personal favorite, the Byzantine Empire. All of them with strengths and weaknesses. You can pause the video wherever you like. Of course, if you wish to read them, that is. All the menus are here. Everything is pretty much here. And yeah, you can either play a short campaign or a long campaign. As you can see, the conditions vary. And if you go to additional options, and if you do really want a little bit more realism, well, you can toggle the no battle time limit. It's more fun that way, let's be honest. But hey, that's only my personal preference, guys. Feel free to play it as you like. Let's go into the campaign. Okay, so if you're familiar with Rome Total War on mobile, you're gonna notice right off the gate that the UI is a little bit different, but everything is here. You have your advisor on the top left, your minimap on the top right, your notifications on the left, the scroll thingy. Yeah, this is where you're gonna receive missions. You have your faction summary and economy, along with a few other things like diplomacy, family tree, settlement, armies, agents, fleets, all the good stuff. This is for you to quickly navigate to a certain character if you choose to. In order for you to manage an army or a settlement, you need to double tap on it. From over here, as you can see, you have a lot of options. You also have auto management, which is also present in Rome Total War. And you can basically build stuff and recruit units from your settlement. If you tap and hold on any of the structures or the units, that'll give you more information about that. Like construction costs, bonuses, construction time, and even a little bit of trivia in form of a description. Just to immerse you even more into the time period. I'm personally a fan of such small touches. I know a lot of people were struggling with the economy in Rome Total War. So, from here, you can actually check all of the detailed reports for every city that you own. That way you can micromanage everything if you choose to do so. Personally, I'm not a fan of micromanaging everything, so I'm glad that there's an option to auto-manage settlement taxation, because that helps a lot. In terms of gameplay, I haven't seen any crashes, lags, bugs, or any of that sort. It's pretty smooth. I'm actually a fan of how things turned out. I'll even say that the experience feels way more smoother than Rome Total War even, for example. Although it's not bad over there, I can safely say that they improved on some things that we're gonna touch on later. In terms of controls, for movement for example, it's identical as Rome Total War. In order for you to move a character, you need to have that character selected, and you can pretty much drag to wherever that character needs to go. In our case over here, we're gonna move Prince John, and we're gonna prepare to take the rebel settlement of Smyrna.
Yes, my lord.
Now I'm pretty confident that we can do it with the army that we currently have. I'm probably gonna recruit some mercenaries as well, just to be on the safe side. Let's end the turn. One thing that I've noticed that I would like to mention in this video is that it looks like they improved on how much time it takes to end the turn, and for how long you have to wait for other factions to do the same. When the game was released, I kid you not, it took so long that you could go to the bathroom, come back, and maybe if you were lucky, then you could have played. Now it's way different, as you can see. It took us like, what, 2 seconds? Of course, your experience may vary dependent on your device. However, I'm confident enough to say that they definitely reduced the time to be less than 10 seconds. For most devices, if not all devices. Jokes aside, but it was something along the lines of 25 to 30 seconds, which was just ridiculous. And believe me, I do have a pretty powerful device. So yeah, Faro Interactive did optimize the game, at least to the best of their abilities. Here we go. The battering ram is complete. Let's begin the assault.
This is where we shall meet the enemy.
Moving on to the second biggest part in this review, the battle system. Now, Pharaoh Interactive definitely improved on some things, especially compared to Rome Total War. I know I do that a lot, but as I said, it's the only thing that I can compare it to. So, in terms of controls, they optimized the shit out of it. Which I'm actually really happy to see and experience. I was pleasantly surprised to see that there was no longer a mistouch, or in this case, when you place down units with 2 fingers, they go and do exactly what you told them to do. I know, shocking. Please, Pharaoh, if you're watching this video, please implement that back into Rome Total War, because we need that shit. It's just that damn good. I feel like it's way more responsive. And that is exactly what we need, because, let's be honest, in the heat of battle, every second counts. And if you go and place a unit, and if it doesn't do exactly what you told it to do, things can go sideways pretty fast. Which of course results in frustration, and, you know, can lead to some people just quitting the game and never coming back to it.
Excellent! We have breached our enemy's walls.
Speaking about the topic of controls, I cannot help to mention the changes in the UI, and some features that were present in Rome Total War, which they actually implemented over here. Of course, I'm talking about the option to hide the UI completely. That actually helps immensely on smaller devices like phones, and it makes the game a lot more cinematic, as you can see. For those of you who are not familiar how to do that, just simply tap 2 fingers on the screen, it's that simple. In my opinion, that will help you not only enjoy the game a little bit more because you can see what's going on, but also you'll have a lot more awareness on the battle map. As we all know, those things can get pretty big sometimes. Cheesy joke incoming. As far as graphics and animation go, well, as you can see, they're pretty decent. The cool thing about Medieval 2 is that it is the first game where Activision implemented hit and react systems. Meaning that when one of your troops attacks, the enemy will react to that attack. It does make the experience a little bit more immersive and, you know, believable. But of course, that is something from the original and not something that Pharaoh Interactive did with this port. And we're covering the port, guys. So there you have it, folks, the honest review of Medieval 2. Let me know in the comments below if I missed something. And as always,
My lord, our men are in command of the castle.
I'll catch all you lovely folks out there in the next one. Stay awesome.